Man, what's up with my subscribers, man? I appreciate y'all, man. Shouts out to all my new subscribers that came from the divorce court, that came from Steve Wilko, and that came from Big Hurt. Shouts out to y'all, man, and shouts out to my loyal subscribers. Been there from the beginning when I didn't have hardly any subscribers. But man, this story right here, man, this story right here is about the only lie that I told on TV. The only one. And I'm gonna tell you why it's bothering me, why I gotta put it out there. Because these TV shows, man, if you give them a chance, they will exploit you. They will exploit you and let you sacrifice yourself all in front of America, right? And this is why. So behind the scenes, I was talking to a little bit producer. Her name is Gina. She is a two-faced snake. But anyhow, when we looked on Craigslist, and we called in, told to show our story. They hear stories, they filter them out on a high level. And if you notice, Steve Wilko has a lot of black couples, period. Hell of them. Just note that in. So next thing you know, they was more curious on how me and my wife met. We met when I we met on I met my wife on a cell phone. I was in the pen with my phone calling chat lines, trying to meet somebody, and I met my wife. So that was got what got their antennas going up. Then I talked to her about she wanted to know, how do you get the phones? With a smile, I'm like, back in the days we had this one move where we get the phones in the Pringle can, and then certain amount of money, but still the thing is, she wanted me to tell this story on TV in front of America, and I thought I could tell her hella different other little stories to get her to go away from that story, but hell nah, she want to hear that story. So when they fly us out there all the way from Connecticut. I mean, they fly us out there from Sacramento all the way to Connecticut. And as soon as we get there, you would think that they gonna give you a chance to sleep, recoup. That's a cross-country flight. Hell no. Nah. They brought us straight into the studio, offered us some food, some cigarettes, and then I told her straight up, Gina, man, I don't think I can be going on TV telling that story. She said, look, that's the reason why you're here. Basically, I ain't got no choice. I ain't got no choice but to tell this story. She forcing me to tell it. I'm like, man, I ain't gonna do it. I'll get back on the plane. I ain't doing it. So she leaves and she comes back, goes talk to her. I mean, she leaves, goes to a producer, come back. She said, all right, what else you got? So I tell her some other stories. She was like, them stories is cool, but I want the Pringle can story. So I'm looking deep down inside myself, I can't do this. I can't go out like this. She's trying to pump me. So next thing you know, that night when we go back to the hotel room, I go get me a blunt, and I think about it, man. I think about it. So I call a loved one that's still inside prison. I call him because I needed his insight. I'm like, bro, man, look, this is what they're doing, man. This is what they're doing. They're trying to force me to tell an old move that we used to do. This move is 12, 13, 14 years old, but I don't feel like putting it out there like that. He said, bro, look, you're about to be on TV. Make something up. I said, make something up. He said, yeah, man, make something up, man. Say the drones dropped it. I was like, the drones dropped it. Now, I heard of drones dropping phones in prison and all that, but I never seen it myself or done it. So when I got on Steve Wilko and said something about the drones dropping at my job and all that, that was bullshit. That was bullshit. Because the next morning, when I went back, after I talked to him, and I figure it's no harm, no foul, fuck him. So when we get to the studio the next morning, and she agrees. I'm not gonna tell the Pringle can story. I'm gonna tell the drone story. That drone story replaced the Pringle can story. And then on top of that, man, she was giving my wife a hard time because my wife, she ain't an actor like that. She ain't been on TV. Neither have I. But I'm natural at this shit. I don't give a. I mean, I'm a natural. I'm loose with it. My wife is a little stiff. So she come and tell me, look, your wife is dull. I'm like, my wife is dull. She said the show is on your shoulders. I'm like, damn, that felt like a little pressure right there. So what I'm gonna do? Man, I stepped to the motherfucking plate. And hence, I was on divorce court. I recorded divorce court first. But Steve Wilko, that was later. But it aired before divorce court. So I had already been on TV on a divorce court. Actually, wife had been on TV too, but it hadn't aired yet. So, man, the worst thing I realized is that if she was willing to sacrifice me and let me go on TV and jeopardize my safety like that, I was like, man, this is a dirty wench. This is a dirty female, man. So now when I look at Steve Wilkos, I look at Steve Wilko a whole lot different because they exploiting minorities at a high level at that show. Then on top of that, there was that shit green shirt that they had me in. That shit pukey green shirt that they had me wearing. I looked up, and because they give you the clothes and then you got to take them off and give them back. Versus divorce court, they dress you up, and what they dress you up in, you get to keep that shit. So I had some polo gear and everything from divorce court. Steve Wilko, they want their shit back. So when I gave them all so I look up like 2 months, not even 2 months later, like 3 weeks later, and I see a dude on the show come appear on the show. He wearing the same dookie green shirt they had me wearing. So I'm like Steve Wilko is a motherfucking meat factory. I didn't want to comment before like how I did the thoughts after the divorce court. This thoughts after Steve Wilko though, man, it just wasn't worth it. The way they went in on my wife in the comments. And then the way they tried to exploit us, it really wasn't worth us. And you don't get paid that much. This is what they do. They'll give you like you get 2 gift cards a piece. Each gift card got like $150 on it. Matter of fact, I think we each got $150 a piece. It was some punk shit. It wasn't like divorce court. Divorce court, they gave us like a stack. But Steve Wilko, man, they gave us some cheap ass shit. Luckily for me, I was building a platform, so I had a backup plan what to do after receiving exposure on that show. So, but just think about all the other people that don't have no backup plan. They just going to be on TV and they ain't got no direction after that. Man, they being exploited, man. So if you thinking about going on talk shows and shit like that, don't go on Steve Wilko unless you doing it unless you have an ulterior motive. If you have an ulterior motive, then feel free. But if not, man, that's Steve Wilko is a meat factory. And I don't care if you see this, Steve. I don't care. So, anyhow, man, that was the lie I told on TV. The drones. That was straight bullshit. And everybody that knows me, they was probably dying like a motherfucker inside because they know there ain't had no damn drone coming to prison. Everybody would have knew that on the yard. So, anyhow, man, dirty weather, go. Is that a drone? Give me, drop the phone. Got it.